What's up, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode 216 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my bedroom. I'm going to give you all the Week 18 recap around the NFL. This is going to be a two-part video because there's so much to get into, and I just can't wait to break this down. I mean, I had to wait a little bit to make this video because there's just so much firings going on in the NFL, just a lot of stuff to get into. So let's start it off. The regular season finale, it did not disappoint. Teams finished. They finally punched their spot to the playoffs. Division titles are all wrapped up in a bow and a ribbon, while other teams say bye-bye to their season and they prepare for next year. And this week, too, a lot of coaches being fired, getting hired, just a lot going on, and I'm just shocked. I can't believe the regular season's over, but now we got playoffs. Just overall, just a lot of great games in general. So watch this video in case if you slept and missed any of the action. So we'll start with Saturday games. The Steelers beat the Ravens 17-10. Mason Rudolph, 152 passing. He had a touchdown, no picks, and one fumble. Najee Harris, 112 rushing and a touchdown. Deontay Johnson, 4 catches, 89 yards, and a score. As for Tyler Huntley of the Ravens, 146 passing, a touchdown, no picks, and the tight end Isaiah Likely with a touchdown catch. So the Steelers go on the road in a rainy and cold conditions, and they sweep their division rival in the season. They finished 10-7 as the 7th seed in the AFC. And their offense had 307 total yards, an efficient run game with 155 yards. Excuse me. And as for the defense, 4 sacks, 2 fumbles. They held Baltimore under 265 total yards for 10 points. It was a weird but a nice regular season for the Steelers. They had no business making the playoffs at all, but they found a way, and you got to salute that guy, Mike Tomlin over there, the head coach. He'd never had a losing season, and he shows why he's one of the best in the business. They had a rough stretch where they had 3 straight losses late in the season. They also had other drama where they fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. Their main starting quarterback, Kenny Pickett, got hurt. They bought in Mitch Trubisky, which was a failure. And now they have Mason Rudolph at quarterback, who's honestly been killing it for him. The run game, honestly, with the run game starting to catch fire, it's what turned their season around. As for the Ravens, they had nothing to play for. They already won the AFC, plus they're the 1 seed. In the AFC after winning the AFC North, and they rested key players such as Lamar Jackson. Even though Pittsburgh has beaten them in the past with Lamar, the offense had 252 total yards. They ran for 106 before 13 on third down. The defense had 3 sacks, 2 fumbles, but they couldn't stop the run, and they didn't get much help from the offense. And if the Ravens' regular season success translate into the playoffs, they're most likely the Super Bowl favorite. The next game, the Texans beat the Colts 23-9. The rookie C.J. Stroud, 264 passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Nico Collins, 9 catches, 195 and a touchdown. And Devin Singletary with a rushing score. As for Gardner Minshew of the Colts, 141 passing, no touchdowns, no picks. Jonathan Taylor, 188 rushing and a score. So the Texans win an absolute thriller. They go to 10-7 to finish the season. They beat their division rival to split the series, and they clinched the AFC South due to the Jaguars' loss, and they're the 4th seed in the AFC. The offense, 324 total yards, only 60 rushing yards, but no turnovers. The defense absolutely got gashed against the run, but they were great against the pass. They got a sack, a fumble, and only allowed 17 points. And I told you guys, C.J. Stroud might be a rookie, but he can handle these big moments. He was phenomenal in this game, and he is the best rookie quarterback to ever play. No lie. I don't care what anyone says. And this has come from someone who loves Dak Prescott, who Dak Prescott has a top 3 rookie season, but C.J. Stroud holds that title at number 1 now. And last season, you look at them, they were a 3-win team. This season, they had 10 wins, an AFC South title, and are playoff bound. Nobody saw that coming. I said they had maybe 5 wins at best. And the rookie head coach, DeMeco Ryans, hell of a job this year. He's the coach of the year, in my opinion. And as for the Colts, they fought to the very end, but just came up short. They trailed 14-3 and made a 17-17 tied game in the 4th quarter. Their mistakes, though, when they were tied at 17, they missed a field goal. And another mistake they made with a chance to win the game deep in Texans territory. 1 minute remaining. It's 4th and 1. The Colts go to their second-year player, Tyler Goodson, who is wide open for a first down, but he drops it, and the season ends just like that. They should have fed Jonathan Taylor. He was having a hell of a game. But as for the Colts, they had 227 rushing yards, so why didn't they feed him there? And their offense, they did have 368 total, but they had a very bad pass game. They were 1-11 on third down. The defense had 2 sacks, but couldn't create a turnover. And it was a tough way to lose, but they have nothing to be ashamed of. They were playoff contenders that nobody expected. They lost their rookie quarterback in the beginning of the season, Anthony Richardson. They got a new rookie head coach, Shane Steichen, who has done a phenomenal job with that squad. I didn't expect them to get 9 wins. I thought maybe 4 wins at best, but they finished 9-8, and sadly they have to miss the playoffs. On to the Sunday games. The Titans beat the Jaguars 28-20. Ryan Tannehill, 168 passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Derrick Henry, 153 on the ground and a score. And the rookie Tajay Spears had a rushing and receiving touchdown. And you can't forget about DeAndre Hopkins with a touchdown catch. As for Trevor Lawrence of the Jags, he had 280 passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Calvin Ridley, 6 catches for 106 and a touchdown. And the tight end Evan Ingram, 10 catches for 79 yards and a touchdown. So the Titans closed their season 6-11 with a win against their division rival. They split the series 1-1 with them for the season, and they crushed their division rivals' hopes by eliminating from the playoffs. It's crazy because last year the Titans collapsed just like the Jaguars, and the Jaguars knocked them out in the final week. Fast forward a year later, the Titans returned the favor, and the offense had 343 total yards, 611 on third down, as the run game went crazy for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the defense, they didn't get a sack, but they were able to get 2 picks. They stopped the run and were great against fourth down. And the Titans' season was rough. They had no QB, no wide receiver core, no O-line, no secondary. But the head coach, Mike Vrabel, he did what he could do. He actually just got fired a few days ago, and I'm sure they'll miss him. He's a really good, really underrated coach, and he's made the best of what he could do. And before the game, he even said to his squad, he said, if we can't make it in the playoffs, neither can they. And that's just a total badass line right there. And he made sure that him and his squad showed up and knocked out their division rival. As for Ryan Tannehill, he's definitely going to be gone. They have the young, promising rookie Will Levis bursting on the scene. Derrick Henry is definitely gone too. He'll test free agency. He said goodbye in his thank yous to the crowd on the field. And it's an end of an era in Tennessee. As for the Jaguars, horrible way to go out. They had chances but couldn't execute. 0 for 3 on third down. The biggest was Trevor Lawrence stopped at the goal line in the fourth quarter, where the Jaguars would have had a chance to tie the game. The offense, 362 total. They rushed for 82 yards. They were 8 of 14 on third down, but they're awful on fourth down, plus the turnovers they had. The defense, 2 sacks, 1 pick, but they got ran over by Derrick Henry and company. They collapsed like the Roman Empire late in the season, from 8-3 to 1-5 to finish 9-8. They choked the division lead. They missed the playoffs, and last season was the opposite for them. They started 3-7 and finished 9-8 as AFC champs, and they even won a playoff game last year. But this year, just a bunch of disappointment because they gave us high hopes for this season and they failed to deliver. I saw a funny post of the Jaguars players disrespecting the terrible towel in Pittsburgh earlier this season. And the picture caption said the Jaguars were 3-6 since this moment. Maybe that's why they had a collapse. I don't really know. Or is it because Trevor Lawrence is pretty overrated? Yes, he's good, but everyone thought he was the second coming of Christ. The dude had 21 turnovers this season, and no one says nothing about it. As a matter of fact, in that 1-5 stretch, he wasn't the QB for that one game, and that was the game they wound up winning. I get he was hurt and whatnot, but he deserves some criticism. But maybe because he's got long blonde hair and is pretty good looking, he's exempt from criticism. But it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back next season. Next, the Lions beat the Vikings 30-20. Jared Goff, 320 passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. David Montgomery and the rookie Jahmyr Gibbs each had a rushing score. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches for 114 and a touchdown. And the rookie tight end Sam Laporta had a touchdown catch, but he left with a leg injury. As for Nick Mullins, 369 passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Justin Jefferson, 12 catches for $192 and a score. And the rookie receiver Jordan Addison had a touchdown catch. So the Lions sweep their division rival. They finished 12-5 on the season. Offense, 390 total yards, 70 rushing yards, and 2 touchdowns. They had no turnovers. The defense had 4 sacks and 2 picks. The Lions closed the season on a high note. They will be the number 3 seed in the NFC, and they host their first playoff game at home in over 30 years. And as for the Vikings, their season comes to an abrupt end. They were eliminated from playoffs. They finished 7-10 on the season, and in this game, the offense had 485 total yards, 89 rushing yards, but they were 2 of 13 on third down, and like I said, the turnovers. As for the defense, they had a sack, but they couldn't They couldn't force a turnover, and they were torched against the pass game. And the Viking season was very unfortunate. They started 1-4. Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles. They pick up Joshua Dobbs. They get to a 6-5 record, but then they benched him after he had a very bad game. So they used Nick Mullins, who didn't impress at all. Like, sure, he had some good games, but he had a lot of turnovers and injuries too to their key players. Like I said, Kirk Cousins, tight end TJ Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson, their star receiver. But what still amazes me is how Justin Jefferson got 1,000 yards and he missed 7 games. So he's one of one, in my opinion. He's just really good. And I'm curious to see what they do in the draft because they have a decent pick. I wonder if they go QB and start looking for the future since Kirk's injury might not be the best. Next, the Saints beat the Falcons 48-17. Derek Carr, 264 passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks. The rookie A.T. Perry with 2 touchdown catches. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed with a touchdown catch each. And the rookie Kendre Miller with 75 rushing yards and a score. As for Desmond Ridder, the Falcons, 291 passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a fumble. The rookie Bijan Robinson, 7 catches for 103 and a touchdown. So the Saints coast past their division rival, and they split the series. The Saints also finished 9-8. The offense, 418 total yards. They had 154 rushing and no turnovers. The first downs, the Saints had 27 while the Falcons had 14. The defense had a sack, a fumble, 2 picks. They were stout against a very good run game, and they gave up just 17 points. And this game was tied 17-17 at halftime, but in the second half, the Saints outscored the Falcons 31-0. And despite finishing above 500, the Saints will miss out on the playoffs due to the Packers winning. And it's pretty ironic. Early in the season, the Saints lost by a point to a missed field goal thanks to the Packers. And if that kick is made, the Saints find their way into the playoffs. You know, they showed flashes of a solid team this season, but they also show flashes of being a very awful team, easily the most inconsistent team in the NFL. It's interesting to see what they do this offseason. Like I said, game tied at halftime. The Falcons couldn't stop the Saints' run game or their defense in the second half. 8 penalties for 75 yards won't help either. Their offense, 396 total yards. They only ran for 78 yards, 4-11 on third down, and 3 total turnovers. And they just went flat in the second half by scoring 0 points. They put up a donut, and the defense was not that great. They had 3 sacks, but 0 turnovers, destroyed by the run. They gave up 48 points for 400-plus yards. And after the game, the head coach, Arthur Smith, had some choice words for the Saints head coach, Dennis Allen, for running up the score. Arthur Smith was fired after this game, and the Falcons fans should rejoice because now they just need Desmond Ridder gone. And all Atlanta needs is a competent quarterback and head coach, especially a head coach who will play his talent. They have so much talent, and it's like their head coach didn't know how to utilize it. And, you know, he benched Bijan Robinson one time, which was absolutely asinine in my opinion. And they're just way too talented to not use those stars that they have. The Falcons finished 7-10 on the season, though, and they will miss the playoffs. Next, the Jets beat the Patriots 17-3. Trevor Siemian, 70 yards passing, no touchdowns, no picks. Breece Hall, 178 rushing and a rushing score. Bailey Zappi, 88 passing yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. And Zeke Elliott, 54 rushing yards. So they did it. The Jets finally did it. They beat their division rival for the first time since 2015. The Patriots have won 15 straight against the Jets previously. The Jets finally broke that curse in snowy conditions in Foxborough. And the Jets will wrap up their season 7-10. The offense, 255 total. They had 13 first downs while the Patriots had 6. And the run game absolutely went off. 185 total, and Breece Hall showed that he was built for these type of conditions. The defense dominated, 7 sacks, 2 picks, allowed less than 180 yards for 3 points. The Jets got to be pumped for breaking that losing streak, especially if it doesn't turn out to be, well, it actually did turn to be out Bill Belichick's last game coaching the Patriots. I heard some Jets fans wanted to lose on purpose for a better draft pick, but screw that. The season was done for, so you might as well get joy out of beating your arch nemesis. And the Jets' nightmare season, though, it's finally over. Rodgers was down for the season. 4 plays into the first game, they didn't have a quality backup. The O-line was the worst in the league. And if Rodgers stays healthy and they upgrade the O-line, they definitely have a chance because the defense is elite. Breece Hall is elite. They just need a couple more pieces. As for the Patriots, they finally lost to the Jets. Terrible offense, 176 total, 88 rushing yards, 1 of 14 on third down, 0 of 3 on fourth down. O-line was just like a revolving door out there. It was just very bad. Bailey Zappi didn't have a good game. And the defense had a sack, a fumble, but no one could stop Breece Hall as he ran wild. And their mediocre season is done for. They finished 4th in the AFC East with a 4-13 record, and it's just crazy how the mighty have fallen. They were so at the top for so long, and now they're all the way down here. But that's football. That just happens. And as for Bill Belichick, he is done. He was fired as the Patriots head coach, and it is an end of an era. It was a legendary run, but he proved that he couldn't get it done without Tom Brady. And it'd be funny if he let the Jets win on purpose to screw up their draft pick. The next game we have here on the slate, Bucks beat the Panthers 9-0. Baker Mayfield 137 passing, no touchdowns, no picks. Chris Godwin 6 catches for 51 yards. As for the rookie quarterback Bryce Young, 94 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks, and a fumble, and Chuba Hubbard with 85 rushing yards. So the Bucks sweep their division rival. They finish 9-8. They clinched the NFC South as the 4th seed, and they got their 3rd straight NFC South title. They won their last 5 of 6 games. The offense 250 total, 113 rushing, no turnovers. The defense had 3 sacks, 2 fumbles, and they pitched a shutout. And to think, when Tom Brady left last season, we all wrote the Bucks off, but Baker revived himself. They're going into the playoffs hot. And as for the Panthers, a team that's not hot, back-to-back weeks they were shut out. The offense 221 total, ran for 131, 2 of 12 on 3rd down, 2 turnovers, 0 points. And the defense, they had 3 sacks, couldn't force a turnover, and no help from the offense. They end their season 2-15. It was just a disaster. Their owner is completely incompetent, doesn't know how to run a football team. They fired their head coach. They didn't even give him a chance. It was his first year coaching the team. They fired him halfway through the season, and they kind of reached on Bryce Young. But he can be good, though. He's just got to get the right pieces to support him. Next, the Bengals beat the Browns 31-14, 156 passing, 3 touchdowns, and a pick from Jake Browning. Joe Mixon with 111 and a touchdown. The rookie Andre Yoshivash had 2 touchdown catches. And as for Jeff Driscoll of the Browns, 166 passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. David Bell had 2 touchdown catches on the day. So the Bengals split the division series with their rival. They finished 9-8 on the season, and the offense wasn't anything too crazy, but they did run for 183 yards. The defense had 3 sacks and 2 picks, and the season didn't go as planned. Joe Burrow got injured, and the season was basically over. Jake Browning did a solid job, though, and they still had a chance to push for the playoffs, even with Burrow out, and they should be back next season when they're all healthy. As for the Browns, they had nothing to play for in this game. They benched everybody. The offense, 270 total yards. They ran for 104. They were 2-11 on 3rd down and just very sloppy. The defense had 3 sacks, a pick, and they couldn't stop the run. And the Browns did finish 11-6, 2nd in the AFC North and the 5th seed in the AFC. And they have a very, very scary defense that's built for playoff football. And Joe Flacco, he comes alive during playoff time. We all remember his run with the Ravens when he won the Super Bowl with them. The next game is the Packers beating the Bears 17-9. Jordan Love, 316 passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a fumble. The rookie Dontavion Wicks, 6 catches, 61 yards, and 2 scores. Jaden Reed, 4 catches, also a rookie, 4 catches for 112, and Aaron Jones with 111 rushing yards. Justin Fields with the Bears, 148 passing, no touchdowns, no picks. DJ Moore, 4 catches for 64 yards. So the Packers sweep their division rival. They go 9-8 on the season. The offense moved the ball at will. Both passing and running the ball, 440 total yards, 124 on the ground, 7 of 10 on 3rd down. The defense had no turnovers, but they got 5 sacks. And they finished 2nd in the NFC North and the 7th seed in the NFC playoffs. And they're the youngest team in NFL history to make the playoffs. And Jordan Love is just balling down the stretch. As for the Bears, their season comes to an abrupt end. The offense had no turnovers, but they couldn't run or pass. They had a bad O-line, 222 total yards, 75 rushing, 3-11 on 3rd down, 13 first downs, while Green Bay had 24. The defense had a sack, a fumble. They gave up 450 yards. And did we see Justin Fields' final game as a Bear? I hope not, because the Bears need to build around him. They added DJ Moore this offseason, a good wide receiver, and he absolutely balled out and helped Justin Fields. They need better O-line, and they need another weapon for him, because Justin Fields balled out down the stretch of this season. They do have the first overall pick in 2024, so it's going to be interesting to see who they go with. And they finished 7-10 on the season and 4th in the NFC North. So this was part 1 of episode 216 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. Tune in for part 2. It's coming up next. And just remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow me below on Instagram. And remember, stay tuned for part 2.